mute you. But anyway, so welcome again. We have our National Charity League and our moms and our daughters, the little TikTokers. And when I talked about y'all in our meeting this past week, I said the TikTokers, and they're like, what's that? Like, they're thinking TikTok, the app. I'm like, no, these are cool. These are cool girls. Like, they're adorable. So I'm glad you guys are on. I'm going to be sharing the floor tonight with Shauna Sexton, and Shauna is the director of Where Hope Lives program at the Phoenix Dream Center, and soon to be director also for the Streetlight program. So I'll explain that to you guys real quick. What Where Hope Lives is Where Hope Lives is it's actually the largest global human trafficking rescue residential program. And what that means is that at the Dream Center and at Streetlight, we rescue girls, sometimes from the street. Sometimes I'm muting you guys so we don't get an echo. I'm not trying to be rude, but that way we don't get an echo. But sometimes they're in sting operations, and you can learn all about these things if you go to phoenixdreamcenter.org. We're not going to spend a lot of time on how they're rescued. We're going to talk about how they got into the situation they're in to begin with. So I'm a mom of a son and a daughter, and Shauna has a daughter and a son. And so her daughter is preteen, and so she's living this just like your moms are. But before I turn it over to Shauna, I am actually going to give your moms permission to do a few things. So the first thing that your mom has permission to do is your mom and your dad have permission to take your phone, to take this anytime they want, until you get a job and you start paying for your phone yourself. I have also instructed your moms to put a tracker on your phone. That is not because she is nosy. Well, maybe a little, but it's because she loves you and she wants to protect you. I'm also going to empower your moms to take your phone every single night before you go to bed or before you go upstairs and get ready for bed, because there are studies that are proven that when you sleep with your phone, that it disrupts your sleep patterns. Your brain can't completely go into REM. So you're depriving yourself of valuable sleep, which can lead to all kinds of horrible things later on in life. But right now it can lead to weight gain, weight loss. It can lead to falling asleep in class, things like that. So don't sleep with your phone. If you say, well, my alarm clock's on my phone, then for Christmas, you need to ask for an alarm clock. It's a thing you plug into the wall and it goes bom, 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 and you can press snooze, but you shouldn't, because then you'll be late. All right. So one of the things I talked to your moms about last week is to always be able to know where you are. Because if you are ever in trouble, you can either text her a word or a phrase that lets her know that she needs to come get you immediately, or to send the police to your location. Now you might think, Miss Joanna, where would I be where I need the police to come and get me? Well, if you're in a situation that you thought was going to be one thing and it turns out to be something else, so you think you're going to a sleepover with a bunch of girlfriends and a bunch of guys show up and the parents aren't there, you could get yourself into a situation where things could actually be dangerous for you. And so we're going to have Shauna talk about those things, but I want to encourage you to be on board, be totally on board with your mom having a tracker on your phone and her being able to look at things you're saying, you're reading, and you're looking at, because she, believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe, she is so much smarter than you right now. A lot smarter than she looks, right? And really, it's all about your well-being, because as moms, we have this thing called an instinct. We have a maternal instinct in us. And if we feel like something is not right, you need to let us go with our gut. If we feel like there's a situation you're going into, or a party you're going to, or, any kind of social thing you're going to, and she just has a feeling you shouldn't go, you need to trust her. And you might be mad, you might be upset, but I have given her permission to tell you, we're going to stay home and have game night tonight. And you're going to say, Okay, mom, because this crazy woman told you to be nice to your mother. Okay, so Shauna, you want to take it over?
Absolutely. Joanna, thank you for all of that. And I want to encourage all of the girls on here that, all of these kind of things sounded crazy to me when I was a teenager. Until I had my own kids and started realizing like what's truly out there and how my intentions are and how I'm now raising my daughter who is 12 years old. It none of it made sense to me until now. So I know as a teenager we hear it and we hear from older women or women our mom's age and we're like yeah, they're just saying the same thing, right? But I'm telling you it is completely true. So I don't know how many of you girls have seen like the movie Taken or the movie Sound of Freedom. um, and trafficking does happen that way. Um, but that's not our typical what we see here in America. So, it's not when I was growing up, it was, look out for stranger danger, look out for the white van driving down the street. Even more recently, there were these things on all over Facebook and not Snapchat, but Instagram and all these other things talking about, zip ties on your mirror and stuff like that. Realistically, that's not what we're looking for. Not even 100%. I mean, there's no percentage of that is, it can happen. Kidnapping does happen. We all know that. However, the main thing that happens is relationship building, whether that's through a gaming app, through a social media app, through just text message, a cell phone, maybe finding somebody at a park or a mall, or and it's that conversation that just starts and then you start to become friends. And so predators are very good at what they do. Trafficking is a $150 billion a year industry. And so these predators are very serious about their job because this is their job. This is how they make money. And so the more girls they get, the richer they get. It's more money they make, right? So typically, the majority of trafficking that I see today, what I also went through myself, was a boyfriend. It was a boyfriend that gained my trust, learned things about me, and then turned around and used things against me to be able to get me to do things I didn't want to do. And that's really the typical thing that we see today. So girls, please let your moms look through your phones and just have real conversations with you about the people you're having conversations with. Be open and honest with them about your friends. And if your mom asks you to stop talking to somebody, please listen to that. Our moms aren't trying to be mean. We're me as a mom, I'm not trying to be mean to my daughter. I want my daughter to have friends. I want her to have good relationships. But I also, I'm her mom and I was given this job to protect her. And I take that very seriously, as all of your moms do as well, or you wouldn't be here today. So realistically, if a boyfriend is trying to isolate you away from your family, away from your friends, away from your social events, or is asking you to do things you don't necessarily want to do. I mean, girls, as teenage girls, as moms, we have a mother instinct, but as teenage girls, you all have an instinct as well. And I know for me, growing up, a lot of times my gut would tell me, I probably shouldn't do this. But in my mind, I was like, whatever, it's going to be fun. So I went and did it anyway. And that's when I always got in trouble. So for you girls, please listen to that, because that's the Holy Spirit, that's your body, that's, whatever it is that you need to think of it as, that is your warning sensors going off, telling you, wait, question this, think about it. Right. I know, for my daughter, I don't, if she messes up or is in a bad spot, I want her to always call me and say, Mom, this is what happened. And I hope that all of you can have that relationship with your mom too. And moms, we have to be careful with our reactions to things so that our daughters can have those conversations with us. So it's just, it's one of those things. Let's have those open conversations every night and make sure we're being real about it. Um, I oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just lost my train of thought.
Okay,
Joanna, what
Shauna,
was
can you, yeah, the other thing I want you to ask to talk about is how they can watch out for each other. Girls can watch out for other girls.
absolutely. A lot of times growing up, girls, we get mad at each other. We have fights, um, all the things. Sometimes one of my friends would be like, hey, don't date this guy. And for some reason in my mind, it was she's jealous. She wants to date him, right? We really have to stop that line of thinking. We have to understand that our friends are looking out for us. And if our friend tells us that something is off, we need to listen to that. We really do. Us as girls can stand together and we can be so powerful. We can take over the world. We could do so many things if we would just stand together and we would just honor each other and listen to each other. Um, I oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm losing my train of
That's
thought.
okay. This woman works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So Shauna, like, I never want a girl to think that she can't dress cute or in her tight jeans or her cute little shorts and all that. But can you just talk a little bit about who is looking at them when they're in public?
Absolutely. And so this is something I tell my daughter too, and I'm just gonna say it the way I tell her. She wants to wear makeup. And for me, I'm like, I don't care if she practices and wears it at home. But I had to explain it to her this way to get her to understand was, when you're putting makeup on, you're not just looking cute for the guys that are your age, or if you're wearing, crop tops and stuff like that, which is a little more, acceptable these days because everybody does it. But, it's not just the guys your age that are looking at you now, it's older men because you also may appear to be a little bit older when you're wearing makeup and you're wearing crop tops and all these things. So then you get these older men that are looking at you. And unfortunately, that can cause a bad situation.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions because they all heard me speak last week and I gave them the nitty gritty facts. And I don't know really how deep you guys want us to go with this, but especially if there was anything that I said last week that you want us to revisit with your daughters, just unmute and we'll just take turns. But, one of the things I talked about last week too is that when when you are in a group, like Shauna said, if somebody tries to pull you away from the group, and y'all, it may not be always be a guy. It might be an
Mm.
older teenage girl. And the thing is, she looks like a teenage girl, but she's really in her 20s. Or he looks like a teenage boy, but he's really in his 20s. And they're kind of the bait for you. They're the one that starts pulling you away and getting to be friends with you. And the lifestyle that they're demonstrating to you looks so amazing. Like, I'm going to be the most popular girl on campus and everybody's going to like me and I'll be totally accepted and I'm the hottest girl and all that. And I realize that all sounds so superficial, but hello, it goes through your minds. And you
Yeah.
compare yourself to other girls as well. And so you want to fit in and you want to be accepted and you want everybody to think that you're awesome and all that. And I want to tell you something. And Shauna's more than half my age, but I can remember thinking of those thoughts like when I was a teenager, like, oh, I wish I were thinner. I wish I were taller. I wish I had blonde hair, not dark hair. And when you hit about 24 or 25, that is all going to seem so silly. You are going to come into your own. And even when you go to college, you're going to come into your own and you're going to find out who you are. And a lot of it's going to have to do with the influence of your parents and your peers and your coaches and your youth pastors. But so much of this that seems so important right now is just, you're not even going to think about it anymore at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I think it's just so important that you have confidence in who you are. You're in this organization, you are serving your communities, you are making grades. I know there's a lot of criteria for you to be a part of this organization. And your mom is sacrificing her time and all to help you be a part of this organization. But just keep in mind that, like Shauna said, there are predators out there, and it's very rarely a kidnapping case. It's not the movie Taken. They're not going to grab your ankles and slide you out from underneath the bed. It is a slow, patient grooming process where they paint the
Yeah.
picture to you. They give you nice purses. They might take you to get your nails done or get your hair done. They might offer a trip somewhere or a great outing, take you to fancy restaurants. And that may sound great, but it's leading down a path of destruction. Shauna, when they go to college, they're not really at risk anymore, are they?
Not true. So, really, any woman or man of any age can be at risk. And traffickers aren't just men, they can be women as well. And so, for me, for my daughter, a good rule of thumb is if you've never met the person in person, not to friend them on anything. You have to be very careful with what you're posting on your social medias because just your post can give them so much information about you, about what school you go to, what park you hang out at, that you go to the mall every weekend. They can look at the pictures and figure out what park you're hanging out at. And so you have to be very careful with the posts that you're doing online, especially if you're friending people you don't know. And I wouldn't even go with, oh, this person and I have, 10 or 15 of the same friends. If you haven't met that person in person, don't friend them. Because a predator, again, this is their job and they work very hard at it. They will go and friend all of your friends just so that you think you guys know each other somehow to friend you. So please be very careful on social media, girls.
I think that's a really great point. So if one of our girls or someone we know is, suspicious of a new relationship one of their friends have, or maybe they met somebody new and they're not sure if they should trust them, but it's, to your point, somewhat exciting because maybe they're blinded by some things that they're giving them. I guess I've got two questions. One is, how could you address this with a friend in a way that wouldn't alienate them or shut them down? You'd want them to open up. And then the other side of it is, what's the next step after
Yeah.
that?
Those are great questions. And I think, again, it's just coming down to having these real conversations all the time and letting your friend know, like, hey, I really appreciate, or I really love you and I appreciate your friendship, but, something seems off here to me. Can you talk to me about this guy? What do you guys do on the weekends? Or what do you do when you hang out? And just where did you meet him? And just, kind of dig a little bit for some information and see what's happening. But then, secondly, I would, introduce the parents to the topic and let them know, like, hey, us as girls, we have to, if our friend is in trouble, we have to let their parents know. Otherwise we could lose our friend forever. And so, even if your friend gets mad at you, I would still go to their parents and I would say, hey, something seems off with, Samantha and her new friend.
I did an in-person mother-daughter kind of seminar about 6-7 months ago. And I had probably 13, 14 girls sitting on the floor in their gym clothes, cute as anything, and the moms were all, of course, in chairs sitting behind. And I said, if you girls, you're responsible for each other. This friendship is a value. And if you ever have a friend that starts pulling away, or all of a sudden she has a designer purse, or she might skip school and then she comes back and her nails are done or something like that, you know, you kind of have a responsibility to talk to her, because you don't know what's happening with this new guy who goes to a different school. And sure, he was cute and sharp looking, but that's just, something is wrong because she's not hanging out with all of you anymore. And when I said this, every girl turned and looked at one girl. And when they looked at her, she dropped her head. And when it was over, her mom and her came up to me and she said, I think I'm being groomed.
Mm.
And the mom, of course, said, we're putting an end to this relationship immediately. What do? I go call 911. Here's the human trafficking, hotline number. Get in touch with them. If he comes around anymore, you need to definitely have somebody else there who's, with the police or with Homeland Security to talk to him. And it may end up that he's just a perfectly nice boy. And sure, somebody might be a little bit embarrassed, but that's a very small price to pay. It really is.
Mhm. Yeah. And Arizona has a new trafficking tip line. You can always call things into there and they will just investigate whatever information you have on somebody if you are suspicious of something happening. Any other questions?
The moms are like, I'm so tired from the retreat.
I mean, I think the thing that struck me is just how under our noses it could be. And I think that this is really good and helpful information for us to not look for the examples like you mentioned in the movies. It's more subtle than that. And I think it's just really a great reminder that it's important for us all, and especially our kids, to really know and trust the people that we're surrounding ourselves with.
And girls, don't think that when you go off to college, this can't happen, because I actually talked to two girls that were in a group. They were all in a sorority together, and they had a guy approach them and ask them if they could be bartenders at an executive party with a bunch of executives and stuff like that. And they thought, well, we're all together. We'll be safe. We get paid $100 each. Yes, we'll go. Long story short, next thing you know, somebody slipped something in their drinks, and they've got videos of them now. The trafficker is now blackmailing them, and they have to either tell their family what has happened and risk that video going on their university website, or now they're imprisoned by this person living a double life. So going to classes, being a collegiate, but on the weekends, things are happening that are not good. And I don't want you guys to be afraid of meeting new people or be afraid of meeting new friends, but travel in packs.
Well, and find your trusted people that you can talk to about these things. Your mom, if it's not your mom and you feel like you can't talk to her about the situation, talk to your friend, and maybe she can talk to your mom for you. Or, maybe it's your friend's mom that you trust more that you can talk to. Just find somebody that you feel like you can have that open conversation with.
Pat, did you want to ask something? I can't hear you, but I don't think you're muted. Is your sound on, hon?
Can you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I was just going to say the same thing. Sometimes it's intimidating to think about talking to someone else's parents, or even if you can't find the courage to talk to your friend, talk to your and run it by her, and she'll figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
That's right.
The thing is, don't be afraid about have a bad feeling with somebody that your friend, and they might not end up being a sex trafficker, but it might not be a great person for your friend to be with. So trust your instinct and be a good friend.
Yep.
Absolutely. And girls, you will have many boyfriends through your lifetime, I'm sure. So don't feel bad about letting go of one because you have that feeling.
And don't go to parties where the parents aren't home or that your parents don't know where you are. Don't sneak out. Don't do crazy stuff like that. Don't run away because you get mad at your parents because you say, I'm so mad, I'm leaving. I'm going to Miss Cat's house. And what is the timelines, Jonna, from what time a girl hits the street from the highest percentage that are immediately with a trafficker?
48 hours. Within 48 hours, a predator will approach a runaway.
So don't be doing that, okay? Behave yourselves. And you know what, moms? You're going to have to start these conversations. And your daughter is going to go, I can't believe we're having this discussion. You don't need to worry about me. But you know what? You got to start talking now. And I told y'all the story last time we talked. I told you the story about my daughter's friend that asked me about a certain thing that if you do, are you still a virgin? Y'all remember what that was? And I said, you can ask your mom this. And she goes, no, I can't, because if I ask her this, she'll think I'm doing it. And so it may feel awkward. It may feel embarrassing, but you know what, guys, this is your life. This is your body. This is your future. and you really want to have a good road ahead of you. And if you know that you can call your mom 24/7, even if you're at a party where they started drinking and stuff, and you took a sip of something, and now you've locked yourself in a bathroom and you're like, I can't call my parents, I'll be so mad. Yes, they're going to be mad. They're going to be mad. But more than anything else, they're going to be thankful that you called them.
So a good rule of thumb that I have with my daughter is, if she's out with friends or something and they're going to go do something and she knows she has to call me for permission, and she doesn't want to do it, I tell her to call me and say, Mom, may I do this? And that's my cue. The may word is my cue to say no and to find an excuse for her. But if she says, hey, Mom, can I go do this? I know that it's not something that she's worried about. So if it's something I'm going to allow her to do, then I'll say yes. But if that word may comes in there, that way it doesn't sound suspicious to her friends and she doesn't seem like the uncool one or whatever, but I know it's a situation she wants to get out of.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That's a good tip.
That is.
Does anybody else have any questions? Do any of the girls have any questions or thoughts, perspectives?
I really think moms just get creative and just remember that if we don't teach our daughters about sex and about drugs and about parties in the world and all these things, somebody else is going to. So have real conversations with them. Don't don't try to keep the real side of things from them. I mean, really be real. Because, my mom always made things out to be so scary. And then when I tried it, it was like, well, this isn't scary. This is actually kind of fun, you know what I mean? And then it got me in trouble. And so I think if we can have that real conversation, hey, at first these things look fun and they seem fun, but eventually they run into scarier things.
And if you make a decision that's not healthy, call your mom.
Yes.
Call your mom. Say, I'm in a situation, I need you to come get me. And that's why she has a tracker on your phone, because if somebody bad has you or somebody grabs your phone, she can find you. Trackers on the phones. Yeah. Okay. Now that all the girls hate me, just want to let you guys know that we love you and we respect you. And we know you're going to make good decisions and you're going to live a perfect life and never sin and never make a mistake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just like your mom. And don't start saying, Mom, did you ever do this when you were younger? Because she may have to lie to you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do y'all have any other questions? I keep looking in the chat to see if anybody has a question. Make sure you put your name and your daughter's name in the chat, because I'm going to send that over to Miss Nicole. And, I guess I want to close by saying, don't believe everything you see in movies. Don't believe anything you see in movies or, in sitcoms and things like that. They make a lot of sexual situations and dating situations out to be a lot more casual than they are. And above all, you respect your body. You make decisions for your body, not to please someone else.
That's right.
And y'all, and they're going, she keeps saying my body. Why does she say my body? Okay, well, we don't have any other questions. We'll let you guys go, but thank you for being on. Nicole, was this helpful? Do you think we covered everything?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, whether you're already having these conversations or you're just starting to, I think it's just a good reminder to just open that door and just, to keep talking about things, whether it's about this issue or others. As our kids grow up, the things that they're encountering are, just bigger. They're not babies anymore. It's real life. So we just need to keep talking about all the things. So I appreciate you both being here on a Sunday. For everybody who showed up, thank you guys so much. If anybody has any feedback or thoughts, I'd love to hear it. So feel free to shoot me an email or a text, but thank you.
Nicole knows how to get a hold of me. So if you want to chat with me or you want to go on our website and download any of the special materials that we have that you can share with your kids, that's important. And don't forget that guys can be trafficked too. So if you have sons, those guides apply to your sons as well. So, all right. Well, guys, you have a great Sunday evening and get some rest, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a great